Salutations, respected viewers. I am George from Ireland. In this video, I'm going to debate the motion, this house would kill a poacher to save an endangered animal. Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the House, we propose that it is right, under certain circumstances, to kill a poacher in order to save the life of an endangered animal. So let me lay out the model. There are certain species which are on the endangered list, let's say mountain gorillas, white rhinos, black rhinos. You can get a list from the World Wildlife Fund. And there are only a few hundred individuals of each of these species left in the world. And if drastic action is not taken, these animals would go extinct. Extinct is forever. There is no coming back from extinction. So, and that's why it's absolutely right to do this. And there's no other way. People try the peaceful way. Ideally, we'd never kill a human, but if unavoidable, we would have to do it. So we try to protect the animals everywhere we can, having game reserves, having them fenced off so that poachers can't get in. We might bring in some select tourists on safaris to raise money to fund the reservation. We can run a breeding program. We could put some in zoos and so on, which is sometimes cruel to the animals if the enclosures aren't big enough. We could have a breeding program. We could even sell individuals to billionaire collectors for their menageries because then it'll incentivize saving the species and not wiping them off the face of the planet, all the rest of it. So we have armed rangers. Now, so these poachers are armed to the teeth because they're doing something illegal. If they're caught, quite apart from being shot in the act, is they could go to prison for years. So these draconian measures are unavoidable if we're not to have our biodiversity decimated. Now, Kenya's been doing this for 30 years, introduced this policy, which I know is controversial. And the rangers need to protect themselves as well as protect these magnificent beasts. Otherwise, we'd lose some of our fauna. And poaching these animals, these rhinos and elephants in particular, it funds terrorism and crimes of all sorts. So that's why we need to take very firm action. Moreover, there's the deterrent principle. The would-be poachers will know that they can be shot, therefore they won't even try. You're not going to be able to kill this animal, kill lots of rangers, and get away with it. So it's a case of prevention being better than cure. Now, I know you may say that man and beast are clean different things, but animals are not willfully cruel. Humans sometimes are. And we'll take the more intelligent animals like chimpanzees or gorillas. Their intelligence is close to that of humans. A human of very low intelligence would be less clever than a chimpanzee or a gorilla of very high intelligence. So we need to preserve the genes of these animals. They may be useful for experiments or for medicines we can develop from them in future. So we don't own this planet. We are custodians of it. We borrow it from generations as yet unconceived. And that's why it behoves us to strive with all our might to preserve these species. Otherwise, they would be exterminated. And for the foregoing reasons, I beg to propose. Right, now I am the opposition. Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I oppose this scandalous motion for a number of reasons. First of all, human life. Second of all, enforcing the law with minimum force. Thirdly, because of the negative repercussions I have in other respects. And last of all, because of the complete lack of principle evinced by the proposition. So let me go over those in greater depth one by one. Life is sacred. I would hope that would go without saying. That's obvious to everybody except the proposition. Right? Human life is sacrosanct. That is the supreme moral principle. We are not animals. We are higher than that. Some people are bad, occasionally very bad. But we owe it to fellow members of this species, Homo sapien, to protect their lives, only to kill when absolutely necessary, would only kill to save the life of an innocent person, not of an animal, even if it meant species going extinct. But really, it's a false premise. These species, they've come back from where they were, near the brink of extinction some way, a while ago. And the other side just said we could easily save these species and indeed hugely increase their numbers without endangering a single person by breeding programs, by putting them in zoos, by selling them to oligarchs around the world who want them for their private collections and who'll breed them more and more to sell them on. So leave it to the market. So we have legal rights. Governments are duty bound to protect their people and not to kill them for trifling reasons. To save a panda or something like that. I mean, who cares about a panda? I've never seen one. I don't want them to go extinct, but honestly, that species is not worth a single human life. It's a barbaric and inhumane argument they're advancing on their side. Now, we could easily protect these beasts without raising a gun against anybody. And introducing more guns simply raises the level of violence. You've got these guns, the poachers have got to get those guns, and they're still very desperate people because a kilo of ivory is worth $10,000 quite easily. That's a lot of money to most people. And certainly in places like Kenya or Tanzania, where these people, some people are living in penury, that is just a king's ransom. And so, of course, they're going to be willing to kill lots of rangers in order to get that out. And actually, by making it rarer, all you do is drive up the market price. So what we need to do is just breed these animals, cut off their horns, sell them. Therefore, there's no incentive to kill the animal, and the bottom will drop out of the market. We'll just have a glut on the market. So prohibition never works. You can't buck the market, as Margaret Thatcher would say. However expensive these things are, some people will pay it. So rangers will shoot innocent people. Mistakes will be made. Anyone who comes near them, they'll think they're so-and-so is a poacher and be shot dead. They'll shoot first, ask questions later. There'll be honest mistakes. And it will lead to the general brutalization of society and the lowering of moral standards. So there is no ethical principle which has been advocated by the other side. And I think the practicalities of this policy will vindicate what I'm saying. That how many people are you willing to kill to save, let's say, the 300-minded gorillas? 100 people? 1,000 people? 10,000 people? Where does it stop? There's no limit to your bloodlust, it seems. And what is an endangered animal? Cats? Polecats? Ferrets? Ants? Is there no animal so tiny, so insignificant, so hideous or even inconvenient that you wouldn't kill people to save it? What is the definition of endangered? Only 500 individuals left? 1,000? 10,000? Or what? The only species you want to endanger is the human species. So there is no morality on the other side. So as I say, there's a solution to this with ivory, with rhino horn in particular. We kill millions of animals. Hands up here who's never eaten meat. Hardly anybody. Hands up here who's never worn leather. You see, nobody. And even if you eat things like chocolate, often there are bovine products in that. Or you use medicines that were tested on animals. So directly or indirectly, we've all benefited these things. Even aspirin was animal tested at one stage, killed animals. So human beings, we deliberately kill hundreds of millions of animals every year. I mean hundreds of millions of animals. Cattle and sheep and all the rest of it that we eat, and fish, and in all sorts of ways. And so we're not killed for that. We all deserve to be killed, do we? It's preposterous. Why not kill people to save cows? Some Hindu fanatics would say that. So I plead with the House to stand up for reason and common decency and protect the species that we should all value most, our own, and not some species we've never seen and we don't care about. I beg to oppose.